Hello, welcome to episode 21 of Yarn Twiddling by Chicken Lady Fiber Arts. I'm Lynn, your host at Chicken Lady Fiber Arts. Today is November 10th. My last podcast was on September 26th, so I don't know where October went, but it's gone. We're now into November, so happy Thanksgiving month. So glad that you're here. Tomorrow is Veterans Day, November 11th. It's a time that we honor those who have served or are serving. I do my part every year. I sleep with a veteran. It's the least I could do. So you're welcome. What am I wearing? I'm glad you asked. This is one of my newest finishes. This is, I can't remember the name of the cowl, Feeling Groovy, I believe. It's by Travel Knits. This was a test knit. This is a cowl designed by Travel Knits. It is over on Ravelry, I think. I don't know if it's up yet. But I did a test knit, and what that means is, you know how America's Test Kitchen tests recipes before they get published? Well, this is kind of the same thing. I was one of the people that tested the pattern, made sure that there were no spelling errors, made sure that everything in the pattern made sense. And this is the cowl. It's a 3 pattern repeat, meaning the pattern is repeated 3 times. And this was written for DK yarn. I used the color Allegedly, which is no longer in stock. And I'm going to be bringing it back in January, but it's going to be renamed something, and something else is going to be added to it. A different color is going to be added to it. But calls for 1 skein of DK yarn, which is 100 grams. I used a little bit more than 100 grams. I used 110 grams. Enjoyed it. It was, once I memorized the pattern, potato chip knitting. I knit on this while watching some of my favorite podcasts. My second finish is with my daughter's blanket. I think I told you I'm making a mitered square blanket, and it's going to be a Minecraft blanket. So I have finished. It is 1, 2, 3, I think it's 11 squares wide. Each square is 4 by 4. So I have finished rows 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're actually looking at it upside down. This will be the bottom of the blanket. Let's see, the bottom of the creeper starting right there. So I'm knitting this all in DK weight yarn. I do a whole row, and then I take a few hours and weave in all the ends. And then I do another row, take a few hours, weave in all the ends. That's my nighttime knitting. I think I've told you that every night my husband, daughter, and I sit around on the couches with the cats, with Oliver and Buddy, and we just have a decompressed time where we turn off all the toys, meaning our phones and iPads and computers and all that, and we just sit and talk about what we've learned during the day, what new insights we had. My third finish is, I told you I was taking a class at my local craft store, Building with Lace. This is by Michelle Pearl Hunter. Website is Knit Pearl Hunter. I'm sorry that the table is shaking. Knit Pearl Hunter. This is the 3rd book in her series, Building with Lace. So I am on section 6 now. We're doing smocking. But since I last talked to you, I finished section 4, which is right here. That was September. And then this was October with the beads. I learned how to put beads on my work. Now, if you know where I went to school, then you'll know why I chose purple with the white beads. Little shout out to my old alma mama. Something else I finished was my emotional support chicken. She has no name, but she is going to go, this is a patterned by The Knitting Tree, LA, Los Angeles. That is their website. So this is knit all in one piece, and then you seam it together, and then you make this part down below and you seam her as you stuff it. This is going to be sent off to a home health nurse in, I believe she's in North Carolina, and there have been a lot of folks affected by Hurricane Helene and Milton, and so this is going to be sent off to help somebody who might be living alone and is very scared. I can't imagine watching my family being swept away by water, or watching my home, just all my belongings go. It's just going to provide some little comfort, that's all. So this is going to be sent off for charity. Something else I made with that yarn was the Norwegian fur sweater. And I think this was in the process of being made. Last time I saw you, I found a little button in my button jar, and there she is, little sweater. This will go off to charity, and I knit some little sockies to match. So these will go off to charity also. These will probably go to our local pregnancy center, or they will go to, again, I'm sorry I bumped the table, they will go to letthemlive.org, which helps mamas who, for whatever financial reason, doesn't want to have a baby. Let Them Live swoops in and tells the mama, hey, if we pay next month's rent, will you consider having the baby? Yes, okay. So they come in and not only emotionally and physically support, but they financially support mamas and babies. So we are all about the babies here. Okay, that's all of my finishes. I have something that I wanted to show you, and this is especially for my friend Paisley. Now, Paisley is learning how to knit. How old are you now, Paisley? Okay, see, I forgot. So, Paisley, when I first started to knit, let me find it. I got some cotton yarn from, I don't know, Hobby Lobby or Michael's or Joann's, one of those places. And I started making little coasters, okay? Well, this was probably 2011, 2012. Well, my sister-in-law gave us we were way into watching Meerkat Manor. Have you seen that? It's on Animal Planet. We got it from the library, and we were fascinated with Meerkat Manor. Now, if you watch Meerkat Manor, which is I think University of Oxford put little cameras around to study meerkats for like 10 years. They took all of those little clips, studied the meerkats, and then put them into a show that you can watch, and Sean Astin narrates everything. And so they named everybody in Meerkat Manor. The meerkat families are matriarchal, and they named the lead matriarch Flower. And Flower would tell the whole family what to do. So Flower and her husband and the baby. Okay, so this is obviously me, my husband, and our daughter. So my husband jokes that I'm the flower, you know, tell us where we're going, what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, one day after making all of these, I made a whole bunch of little coasters. I looked over, let's see if I can get this, how it was before I took everything off. I looked over at the meerkats, because this sits on our mantle. Okay, Paisley, this little statue of the meerkats. I look over, and my husband has taken these coasters and put them on the meerkats like they're little hats. So this is how when you walk into our house, you see the fireplace and you see this on the mantle. So that's my story for you, little Miss Paisley. Even if somebody doesn't use those coasters the way they're supposed to be used, they will be used. So there's my meerkat beginning knitting story. The next thing I wanted to show you that I am working on, besides Kitty's blanket and besides the shawl that's going to take another 6 months to finish, we just do one section a month, and that's about all my little pea brain can handle. I've been working on the Marshland sweater. Now, this pattern came out, this pattern came out, oh, I don't know how many years ago, but when it came out, I knit the Marshland. It was the first sweater I'd ever knit. It's by Tin Can Knits, so you will find it either on Ravelry or on their website. I decided that I did not want to wear a pullover because, as you could tell, after about 3 minutes of having on my cowl, I get very hot. I'm hot-blooded. My husband has all the blankets on his side of the bed, and I've got a leg and an arm sticking out. So I'm just hot.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought, well, I want to make a cardigan. So I put in about 6 extra stitches on my Marshland, and then I steeked it, which means you cut your knitting after it's all done. And then I made a button band. So I decided I'm going to make another Marshland sweater since I enjoyed the first one so much. But I didn't want to do the same pattern. So using the charts, and what a chart means is somebody has taken like graph paper and they've made a chart. This is the pattern. It's 9-row pattern, but it's a 4-stitch repeat. So let's say you have 100 stitches, you're going to repeat these 4 stitches 25 times, okay? So that's an example of one pattern, and this is an example of another pattern. The squares are colored, and each square is a stitch. So you might have a white, a red, or a blue stitch. Okay, does that make sense? So using the charts on the Marshland sweater and using my trusty old graph paper, I went to a stitch dictionary. I happen to have a couple. I have the Japanese Stitch Bible. I have Alternates Stitch Dictionary by Andrea Rangel. So using my stitch dictionary, using the charts that were already measured out in the sweater pattern, I redesigned the sweater using the same basic sweater. I'll show you the back first. The back looks nice. There's the back. I'm using some local to me yarn. It was grown here in on the western slope and dyed here on the western slope. And then I'm using some Targhee, which was grown in Wyoming. It's a very sticky yarn. It's not super wash. This right here, you see where this kind of looks funky in the front? You're not going to see that in the finished product, but this is where I will steek. That means cut your work. And you can see that I have split for the sleeves. And do you see any design that you like? The Greek key. There's a couple of make-alongs going on right now as we speak that I wanted to tell you about. I'm sure that there's more, but these are the ones that I know about. The first goes from November 1st all the way to the end of February, so February 28th. It's called the Winter of Murder 2024. You watch Murder, She Wrote. That's a fun show. And the person that is hosting that is Cabot Cove Knits. Cabot Cove is where Jessica Fletcher, the main character of Murder, She Wrote, is. You can either read a book, you can listen to an audiobook, or you can watch the show, snap a picture, post it on social media, and Tabitha over at Cabot Cove Knits has prizes that she's giving out. I don't know if she's giving one big old banger of a prize or a couple of smaller prizes, but that's going on. Make sure that you check her out and use her hashtag. The second thing is the Knit Night sweater, Knit Night podcast, and that's KNITNITE. Knit Night podcast is hosting a Christmas sweater. They're calling it Christmas Goodwill, and it's running from now until Epiphany, which is January 7th, because some of us celebrate Epiphany instead of on Christmas Day. We celebrate on the 12th day after Christmas, after Christ's birth. So that's going on. The Knit Night podcast is every Monday night, and just a couple of friends sitting around talking and knitting, and sometimes they talk about knitting and sometimes they talk about who knows. It's always interesting to know what they're talking about. The third knit along is called Knit Long and Prosper. This is being hosted by Politically Incorrect Knitters. Now, in order to help my friends over at Politically Incorrect Knitters, I did dye some yarn, and I have also called it Knit Long and Prosper. These are colors from the original Star Trek series, and these are 20-gram minis, and then you've got a full skein of speckled yarn. There's only a few of these left in the shop. Grab one now. If you have any questions about the Knit Long and Prosper, there are bingo sheets over on my website, chickenladyfiberarts.com. Scroll all the way down to the bottom and hit blog posts, and it's there in the first blog, Knit Long and Prosper. There's another knit along coming in December, and Got Whips podcast is hosting that. So Nikki and Heather over there are hosting something, and it's a 2-color cowl. Somebody had a question. It was Connie Pagel, Pagel 6813. She found my podcast and she said it was not woke. So thank you. I really try to not let my views be known. I know that some of you know what my political and religious views are. I am Christian. Whether I'm woke or not, I don't know. I don't feel woke right now because I went to liturgy this morning and I'm getting ready for my PLN, which is my post-liturgical nap. So she asked for a list of podcasters and yarn dyers that are non-woke. I'll tell you what I watch, okay? And then you, Connie, can go on from this and branch out. I'm not telling you who to watch. I'm just telling you who I watch because I enjoy their content. I watch Got Whips podcast. The second one I watch is Politically Incorrect Knitters. That's a nice little podcast. They do talk about politics, so if you don't want to hear that, just skip right through that. Cabot Cove Knits. She lives in Oregon, and she talks about her knitting, and she is the fastest knitter that I know. I think she does like 68 stitches a minute. She's hecka fast. Shauna's Stitches. I can't remember where Shauna lives. And then yarn_chicken_ETM lives in Arkansas. Her name is Tara, and she is a fellow Orthodox Christian. So sometimes at the end of her podcast, she will talk about an Orthodox Christian saint. Okay, I wanted to show a couple of birds. I don't know if you saw them or not. I like this year I'm doing state birds. I might continue it next year. We'll see. But I took the Bob White quail, and see, I'm getting some sunlight from the window right here. This is the Bob White quail. Cheap, cheap. And the other one I wanted to show was I'm going to take the ball band off. This is the Western Meadowlark. This is my sock base, which is an 80% superwash merino, grown in the United States. 20% nylon. This is grown and milled here in the United States of America. I love my sock yarn. It's a nice sturdy 4-ply yarn and knits up beautifully. Great stitch definition. And this is the Western Meadowlark. Coming up next Saturday is the trunk show for the politically incorrect knitters. So, Connie, if you're not sure who to watch or from whom to purchase, maybe you can head over to the Politically Incorrect Knitters channel and find a few people. We each are going to have 15-minute slots, and there's going to be some new people. All right, may you have a beautiful rest of your Sunday. Have a great day off tomorrow if you have the day off. If not, thank a veteran. Anyhow, you guys have a great rest of your day. God bless each and every one of you. Thanks for watching. Ciao.